students, welcome to online classes of biology. So we'll start chapter 22, chemical coordination and integration. So we have already studied that how neural system or nerves helps in the control and coordination of various organs, isn't it? So that problem is the neural coordination is fast and but it is short lived. Okay, so the neural coordination, it's very fast but it is short lived. Okay, then on the other hand, okay, there is another kind of integration that is done with the help of hormones. Okay, so neural system along with endocrine system, they both take part in the coordination and regulation of various physiological activities in the body. Okay, so what are endocrine glands? Have you heard about glands? You might have studied glands like liver, isn't it? Pancreas in our where in the digestive system, isn't it? And endocrine glands are those glands which are not having ducts. Okay, they are ductless glands, and the secretions of them are known as hormones. Okay, so hormones are what? The secretions of what only? Endocrine glands. Okay, what are endocrine glands? They are ductless glands. They are not having ducts to pour their secretion. Then how their secretion will reach to the target organs? Through the blood. Okay, they pour the blood in the hormones, the secretions into the blood, and blood takes this hormones to the organs where they have to act. Okay, so how we can define hormones? Hormones are chemicals, okay, produced by what? Endocrine glands, and they are released into the blood as the glands are not having ducts, and they are transported to distant target organs, okay, through the blood only. Okay, blood takes this, okay, to different target organs. Okay, and the site of synthesis and site of action will be different, and they are produced in very small amount. Okay, and they are, okay, they act as intercellular messengers. Understood? So these are what? Chemicals only. Okay, chemicals, non-nutrient chemicals. Okay, and they are produced by what? The endocrine glands, and they are produced in very small amount, and their site of action will be different from site of synthesis. Okay, the endocrine glands, okay, are they are located in different parts of the body, and in this diagram it is shown. Okay, so the major endocrine glands are pituitary glands, pineal gland. Okay, you can see here pituitary gland. Okay, and then what? The pineal gland. Then you can see thyroid gland near to the neck. Okay, thyroid gland. Then you can see adrenal gland where it is located just above the kidneys. Okay, adrenal gland. Okay, then pancreas. Pancreas we learned along with the digestive system. In that we have seen that they were not showing endocrine activity because they were producing what? The pancreas was producing, okay, pancreatic enzymes there, isn't it? Lipases, okay, trypsin, all this were pancreatic enzymes, but that is not the endocrine activity. But a part of pancreas is also showing some endocrine activity. Later we will study. Okay, so pancreas, then what else? Thymus gland near to this region. Okay, parathyroid. Then what? The testis in males, okay, and ovary in females. So these are the major endocrine glands. Okay, so what are the endocrine glands in the body of a human being? That is pituitary gland, pineal gland. Okay, from top to bottom if you see pituitary, okay, pineal, pituitary, then thyroid gland and parathyroid, they are located nearby only. Then thymus, then pancreas, okay, adrenal gland, then testis and ovary. So these are the what endocrine glands. And in addition to this, some of the other organs like gastrointestinal tract, liver, kidney, heart, do you remember, these all produces hormones. Okay, so we learned that kidney produces a hormone called renin, heart, okay, diuretic factor, all this we learned, isn't it? Hormones they produce in addition to the endocrine glands. Okay, these also in addition to the organized endocrine glands, these parts of the body also produces certain hormones. Okay, so let's study the what brief account of these glands and their secretions, and also what are their functions. Okay, so first is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is actually the basal part of the forebrain. That is a part called diencephalon is there, and its basal part. Okay, and they produce a hormone. They contain, okay, neurosecretory cells called nuclei, and they produce what, hormones, and the hormones produced by them are known as neurohormones. Okay, and the major function of neurohormone is to regulate the pituitary gland. Okay, they actually act on where, pituitary gland. And the hormones produced by the hypothalamus are of two types. That is, some of them they stimulate the secretion of pituitary hormones, and they are known as the releasing hormones. Okay, and the inhibiting hormones are there which inhibit the secretion of pituitary gland. Understood? So like this, what for example, gonadotropin releasing hormone is a hormone produced by hypothalamus, and it stimulates the pituitary gland to release what, gonadotrophins. Understood? So gonadotropin releasing hormones helps to release what, gonadotrophins from pituitary gland. Understood? And on the other hand, somatostatin is a hormone, okay, that is a inhibitory hormone that is produced by hypothalamus, and which inhibit the release of a hormone called growth hormone from the pituitary gland. Understood? So what I told is actually it is the gland which connects, you can say, between the neural system and the endocrine system. Okay, so it's a part or it is present in the basal part of the diencephalon of forebrain itself, and the hormones produced by them are known as what, neurohormones. They are of two types. What are they? Releasing hormones and inhibitory or inhibiting hormones. Okay, so they work on where? They work on the pituitary gland. Understood? And these hormones originate from the hypothalamic neurons and pass through the axons and are released from the nerve endings. Okay, and they then reach to the pituitary gland. Understood? And they control the pituitary, means anterior pituitary's function. Understood? And posterior pituitary is under the direct control of what, only hypothalamus itself. Okay, so now let's study the next gland, that is pituitary gland. Okay, pituitary gland is also known as master gland because the secretions of pituitary gland controls the activities of many other glands. Okay, and it is situated in a bony cavity called sella turcica. Okay, and it is attached to hypothalamus by a stalk also. Okay, there are two parts. Mainly we can classify or we can divide the pituitary gland anatomically into two: adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Understood? Adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis. Again, it is having two parts: pars distalis and pars intermedia. Okay, so this pars distalis of adenohypophysis is normally called as the anterior pituitary. Okay, and they produce a number of hormones called growth hormones. Okay, prolactin. Okay, thyroid stimulating hormones, adrenocortico-trophic hormones, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormones, etc. Understood? So you have to learn this hormone's name. Okay, I told you what the pituitary gland is divided into two parts mainly. Okay, anatomically. What is that? Adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis consists of two parts. What are they? Pars distalis and pars intermedia. Understood? Now pars distalis is also known as what? Anterior pituitary. And what are the hormones produced by them? Growth hormones, okay, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotrophic hormones, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, so all these hormones again we will study. Understood? Means its action is in different other endocrine glands. Understood? Now pars intermedia, they secrete one hormone that is known as melanocyte stimulating hormone. Okay, and and next part is what? Neurohypophysis. Okay, it is also known as pars nervosa. Okay, and this part is known as posterior pituitary. Okay, and they store and release two hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin. You have learned vasopressin. What is the other name of vasopressin? Do you remember? ADH, isn't it? Where you have learned along with the excretory system. In that we have learned that they control the urine formation, isn't it? So regulation of urine formation, in that you have learned this. Oxytocin is associated with delivery. Okay, so like this, two types of parts or two parts mainly they produce hormones. What are they? The anterior pituitary gland produces the various hormones like what? Thyroid stimulating hormone, growth hormones, prolactin, all that. Okay, and pars intermedia, they produce what? Melanocyte stimulating hormone. And the neurohypophysis, also known as what? Posterior pituitary, they produce two hormones. What are they? Oxytocin and vasopressin. Understood? So they are actually they are synthesized by the hypothalamus, okay, and they are transported into neurohypophysis. Okay, vasopressin and oxytocin. Clear? So now let's see what are the functions of these hormones. First is GH. GH is produced by anterior pituitary gland, isn't it? This, what is the function of it? It stimulates the growth. Okay, so over secretion of GH causes what? Gigantism. And low secretion of GH causes what? Stunted growth or dwarfism. Okay, then excess production, okay, secretion of growth hormone in adults, okay, result in a condition known as acromegaly. Okay, so likewise, what these are the means, this hormone should be produced in a very optimum amount. If it is more or if it is less, even though their presence should be very in small trace amounts, if they are produced more or less, that will be causing problem. Understood? So acromegaly is produced in what? Adults, when the growth hormones production is high after the middle age. Okay, especially in the middle age. Understood? So this is the function of it. Okay, so growth hormone you understood now. Growth hormones causes gigantism, dwarfinism and acromegaly. Understood? Now next is what? Prolactin. So prolactin is the hormone which is associated with the growth of mammary glands and formation of milk. Okay, so next hormones function we learned. Then TSH. TSH is actually stimulates the synthesis of secretion of thyroid hormone from the thyroid gland. Understood? We learned that what pituitary gland is what known as master gland. Why? Because they control the functions of other hormones. Understood? Other endocrine glands. So TSH is produced by pituitary gland, thyroid stimulating hormone. Where it acts on the thyroid gland, and they control the synthesis of thyroid hormone. Understood? Now ACTH. What is ACTH? Adrenocorticotrophic hormones. Okay, they stimulate the synthesis and secretion of steroid hormones called glucocorticoid from adrenal cortex. Okay, adrenal gland I told now. So adrenal gland is having cortex and medulla. Understood? So from the cortex they produce glucocorticoid, a group of hormones called glucocorticoids, and their secretion is controlled by pituitary gland secretion called ACTH. Understood? So ACTH stimulate the synthesis and secretion of steroid hormones called glucocorticoid. Okay, now LH and FSH, they are associated with what? They control what? The activity of the gonadotrophins. Okay, that is the sex hormones. Okay, by male and females. In males, LH stimulate the synthesis and secretion of hormones called androgens, and in males FSH, okay, and androgens regulate spermatogenesis. Androgens are what? They are produced by the testes. Okay, so LH helps in the secretion of androgens. Now FSH and androgens, they are involved in the spermatogenesis. Okay, and in females, LH induces ovulation. Ovulation is what? Release of ovum from the ovary. Okay, and maintains corpus luteum. Next year you will learn that in detail. Okay, corpus luteum is a tissue which is filled in the empty follicle once the ovum is going out. Understood? So like this, what they help in the formation of corpus luteum. Okay, FSH, they help in the growth and development of ovarian follicles in females. MSH, do you remember MSH? Okay, that acts, okay, which part contain means produces this pars media, intermedia, isn't it? So MSH acts on melanocytes, okay, and regulate the pigmentation of skin. Oxytocin, it is the hormone which acts on the smooth muscles of the body. Okay, especially they help during the childbirth. Okay, because they induce vigorous contraction of the uterus. Okay, and also milk ejection from the mammary glands. Okay, now vasopressin, okay, they are what associated with what? The reabsorption of water and electrolytes from the from the nephrons. Okay, so they are also known as what? ADH. Okay, and now an impairment in the means if any overproduction or less production of ADH, if it is there, that causes a condition known as diabetes insipidus. Okay, that is impairment affecting synthesis or release of ADH. If ADH production is less, okay, results in a diminished ability of the kidney to conserve water. So what will happen? Water will be lost. If ADH is not secreted, what will happen? More water will be lost from the body, and that leads to the dehydration, okay, and water loss. And this condition is known as what? Diabetes insipidus. Understood? Diabetes mellitus is caused by what? The problem of what? The problem of insulin, okay, which is produced by the pancreas. But this is what? Due to the what? Less production of ADH. ADH is produced by what? The which is stored in where? In the posterior pituitary gland. Understood? So if their secretion is less, that causes what? Diabetes insipidus. So we have learned the functions of various hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary, and also the pars intermedia, isn't it? So all this, you do one thing, you make a chart and keep. Okay, first you write the pituitary gland, anterior pituitary, then that is divided into pars. Okay, that is the neurohypophysis and adenohypophysis. Adenohypophysis, again it is divided into pars distalis and pars intermedia. Pars distalis is also known as what? Anterior pituitary, and you write the number of hormones, okay, produced by them, and the functions also in the other column. Likewise, make a chart so that you'll be able to study this easily. Okay, so that work you have to do today itself, otherwise it will be difficult. Understood? Now next gland is what? The pineal gland. Okay, pineal gland is located on the dorsal side of the forebrain. Okay, and the hormone secreted by the pineal gland is known as melatonin. What is it? Melatonin. Okay, please, all these terms are very difficult, okay, as you are learning this for the first time. So no other way, only the way is what? You have to make the table and learn it 2-3 times loudly. You read it so that you will understand it. Okay, otherwise it will be difficult. Okay, so if you do this, it will be very easy. So please do that. Then pineal gland secretes what? A hormone called what? Melatonin. Melatonin's major role is it controls the rhythm of the body. Okay, that is we have a cycle that operates in our body, isn't it? Rhythmic cycle, that is at a particular time you will feel like sleepy, or after a particular time you cannot, means morning, after a particular time you cannot sleep also, isn't it? So like that it what also it means it regulate a 24-hour rhythm of the body. And in addition to that, it also influences metabolism, pigmentation, menstrual cycle, okay, defense capability, all this. Okay, so what is the hormone produced by the pineal gland? It is called the melatonin. So melatonin is mainly associated with the rhythm. Okay, 24-hour rhythm, circadian rhythm we can say. Okay, so likewise they help. Then next gland is what? Thyroid gland. Where it is located? On either side of the trachea. Okay, trachea, you know, remember now, part of what? Respiratory system. Okay, so there only it is located. Okay, and in between them there is a flap of connective tissue called isthmus. Understood? You can see here the thyroid gland. Okay, and they are connected by a flap of connective tissue called what? Isthmus. Understood? And thyroid gland consists of what? Follicles and stromal tissue. Okay, and thyroid follicle is actually made up of what? Follicular cells. Okay, that which are enclosed in a cavity, and these produces two types of hormones: tetraiodothyronin or thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronin. Understood? So these two hormones, they are produced. And you know, for the synthesis of these hormones, what is needed? Iodine is needed. And if iodine is not there enough, okay, enough iodine supply is not there in the food, then that causes a condition known as hypothyroidism and the enlargement of the thyroid gland. You might have seen, okay, people with this kind of condition, and that is known as goiter. Okay, so hypothyroidism is very problematic, especially during what? Pregnancy. Okay, and that can cause what? Defects in the baby. Understood? Means if thyroid gland secretion, thyroxine secretion is less, then it can lead to stunted growth. That condition is known as what? Cretinism. Okay, and mental retardation. Okay, then what? Low intelligent, okay, quotient, the IQ will be low, then abnormal skin, deaf, mutism, all that can cause. Okay, and in adult women, hypothyroidism is going to affect the menstrual cycle. Okay, so this due to cancer of the thyroid gland, or due to the development of nodules, etc., what rate of synthesis and secretion of thyroid hormone can be increased also, and that can lead to a condition known as hyperthyroidism. Okay, so this thyroid gland actually it helps in the metabolism, so that can wrongly affect the body. Okay, so exophthalmic goiter, okay, it is a kind of hypothyroidism itself. Okay, here what happened? Protrusion of the eyeball, okay, thyroid gland, increased basal metabolic rate, weight loss, okay, etc. can happen, and it is also known as what? Graves' disease. Understood? So what is the major function of thyroid hormones? They especially take part in the metabolism. Okay, metabolism of the body. Okay, and they help in RBC formation. Okay, then metabolism I told already, isn't it? Carbohydrate, proteins, fats, etc. Their metabolism is catalyzed by these hormones. Understood? Then thyroid gland produces another hormone that is also called that is called as, it means that is a protein hormone, and they are known as what? Thyrocalcitonin and that is their function is they help in maintaining the calcium level. So what are the hormones produced by thyroid gland? That is tetraiodothyronine and what, or thyroxine T4, okay, and triiodothyronine or T3, okay, and if their secretion is less, that can lead to hypothyroidism, okay, and that is due means if for the production of this hormones, what is needed? Iodine is needed. If iodine is not there, what will happen? It will lead to the enlargement of the gland, and that is known as goiter, okay. So in addition to that, another hormone is also produced by them. What is that? Thyrocalcitonin, TCT. What is its function? It regulates, okay, along with the other hormone called parathormone. We are going to study in the next, okay. So these two hormones help in the maintaining of blood calcium level, okay. Now parathyroid gland, okay, next gland is parathyroid gland. Actually 4 parathyroid glands are present on the back side of the thyroid gland, okay, or one pair each in the 2 lobes of the thyroid gland, okay. A hormone is produced by them called that is a peptide hormone, and that is known as parathyroid hormone or parathormone, okay. So its secretion is regulated by the levels of calcium ions, okay. So how they work, they increases the calcium level in the blood, okay. So what they do, they increases the calcium level in the blood, okay. So they act on bonds and they help in the process of bond resorption, means we know that bonds are storing what? Calcium, understood. So parathermone, if blood level, calcium level is less, then what happens? They parathyroid hormone, they helps in the bond resorption or dissolution or demineralization, means from the bonds they help to take what, or they brings calcium ions to the blood, okay, and also they help in the reabsorption of calcium by the renal tubule means in the nephrons, okay, and increase the calcium absorption from the digested food, okay. So what it does is, it is increasing the blood calcium levels in different ways. How? One is by dissolution of bonds, okay, or it brings out calcium from the bonds. Then what? They increases the calcium absorption from the digested food, and they also increases the reabsorption of calcium, means through urine it will not allow calcium to go out, it will absorb, so that the blood calcium level increases, understood. So along with TCT, you remember TCT is what? Produced by the thyroid gland, I told you na. So TCT and this parathyroid hormone, that is PTH, this two maintains what? The blood calcium level. Is it clear? So the next gland is what? Thymus gland, okay. So thymus gland is located between the lungs, okay, means in the chest region. So their function is, they play a major role in the development of the immune system, okay. So the hormones produced by them are known as thymosins, okay. They help in what? Differentiation of T lymphocytes, okay, which is needed for the cell mediated immunity. So this all we will study in the next year, okay. So immunity, there are cell mediated immunity and what? Humoral immunity. So T lymphocytes differentiation. What are lymphocytes, children? They are a kind of WBCs only, okay. So WBCs form means differentiation, okay, is helped by what? Thymus gland, okay, that is thymosins, and they also help to produce antibodies to provide humoral immunity, okay. So humoral immunity is there and cell mediated immunity is there. So T lymphocytes are associated with what? Cell mediated immunity, and what? Antibodies are associated with humoral immunity. So they help in this too, means they generally give what? Immunity to the body, okay, and thymus gland is getting degenerated in all individuals, okay, and immune response, okay, means this gland is more active in what? Children. Now you know that in corona time also government was focusing on vaccinating adult people, isn't it, than children. Why? In children they are having little more resistance, okay, to this, okay, because of this kind of glands. As we grow old, okay, as the other hormones, sex hormones, okay, they become active during the adolescence period, their functions will be slowly diminished, understood? So thymus gland is active mainly in children, understood now? So now we have to study about the adrenal gland, okay, then we have to study about pancreas, testis, ovary, and the mechanism of action of hormones, etc. So this we will study in the next class. Thank you, and please make the table of the hormones, glands, hormones, their functions, etc. Otherwise it will be very very difficult. So I'll be asking this in the live classes, okay. So today you please watch this and please go through this. Thank you, children.